Have you ever wondered why some people seem unshakable while others fall apart at the first sign of adversity? The truth may surprise you. It's not luck, talent, or favorable circumstances that define someone's level of inner strength. It's something that is within everyone's reach, but few master. What we've been taught about strength is often wrong. It's not about being tough all the time, but about learning to endure, grow, and adapt when the world seems to be falling apart. And the best part? Building this strength starts with small steps that you can take right now, today. But before you discover how it's done, there's something you need to understand. The power you have is already there, waiting to be unleashed. Are you ready to discover how to unlock this immense strength within you? For someone who truly wants to surpass themselves, the key is not in grand heroic gestures, but in daily consistency. Discipline, this fundamental pillar, is not born from the desire to feel good all the time, but from a solid structure that repeats every day. Waking up early, creating a fixed routine of study or exercise are simple ways to strengthen this mindset. If someone wants to improve their discipline, they can start by setting small, achievable goals, like reading 10 pages of a personal development book each day, or walking for 30 minutes every morning. These habits, however small they may seem, build something powerful. But of course, life doesn't make it easy for those who choose the path of discipline. There will be days when the mind will try to sabotage any effort, suggesting that delaying or quitting wouldn't be the end of the world. This is where the true test of mindset comes in. A disciplined person is one who, even on difficult days, finds the strength to keep going. Imagine waking up on a rainy morning, feeling tired and wanting to stay in bed. However, it is precisely in these moments that getting up and sticking to the daily plan becomes the difference between those who advance and those who stagnate. Discipline, after all, is like a muscle that needs to be exercised constantly so it doesn't weaken. Every day you choose action instead of inertia, you are strengthening this inner muscle. And the most interesting thing is that discipline is not restricted to one aspect of life. It spreads to all areas, influencing professional, personal, and emotional decisions. A person who learns to control their habits is the same person who learns to control the course of their own life. And here they are already preparing the ground for something even bigger, the process of continuous learning. Learning something truly challenging is an act of patience, but also of persistence. When it comes to facing difficulties in learning, it is common for many to lose their way when encountering obstacles like concentration or comprehension problems. The key here is to understand that the learning process is much more about repetition and daily commitment than innate talent. Anyone can develop a complex skill if they adopt a consistent routine, like setting aside an hour a day to study and review notes. Even if it takes time, progress appears, even if slowly. A simple example of how this process can be applied is learning a new language. There's no point in cramming for a day and expecting fluency in a few weeks. True transformation comes from gradual effort, like practicing 15 minutes of daily conversation or reviewing grammar for half an hour. Over time, small actions create big changes, and what once seemed impossible becomes natural. Additionally, using tools like handwritten notes or constant reviews helps cement the information more effectively. It's like reinforcing each brick of a building, ensuring the entire structure remains firm. The interesting thing is that this process also helps create a sense of control over one's own development. Often, when starting a new area of study, a person may feel overwhelmed by the amount of material. However, by breaking the content into smaller, more digestible pieces, learning becomes more accessible. Just as someone who starts training for a marathon begins with short runs, those seeking to master a skill need to start with small learning goals. What initially seemed overwhelming, over time, turns into a series of small victories. Moreover, it's important to remember that learning doesn't have to be solitary. Seeking out communities or study groups can help accelerate the process. Participating in discussions, sharing experiences, and even teaching what was learned are ways to solidify knowledge. Imagine joining a book club or an online study group about programming. Sharing ideas with others on the same path helps solidify concepts and open up new horizons. After all, learning from others makes the process less arduous and more dynamic. Finally, it's worth remembering that each person has a unique learning pace. It's not about competing with others, but about moving at your own pace, recognizing daily improvements. Persistence is the secret. Even if results aren't immediate, the commitment to keep learning leads to inevitable growth. And when learning becomes part of the routine, it naturally begins to shape other areas of life as well. Continuous practice creates a solid foundation that prepares the person to face greater challenges, like those that arise in moments of personal transformation. Life is marked by ups and downs, and it is often the struggles that shape character. Facing a difficult childhood with traumas and adversities may seem like an impossible burden to bear. But it is at this point that true transformation can happen. Each challenge, each obstacle, can become a catalyst for growth. It is not uncommon to see people who faced great difficulties in childhood become examples of resilience. They learned early on to find strength in moments of pain. For those going through such situations, it's important to remember that these experiences can be used as fuel to move forward. These initial difficulties often feed a negative inner dialogue, something that can easily paralyze anyone. But personal transformation begins when one decides to confront these internal voices. Instead of being dominated by the fears and insecurities that arise from past experiences, there is power in using these memories as motivation to break barriers. For example, someone who has faced emotional or physical abuse may find themselves with two options: to succumb to the trauma or use it to build a stronger, more resilient version of themselves. The first step toward transformation is believing it is possible. The decision to change and transform doesn't happen overnight. It is a continuous and often painful process. Imagine someone who grew up in an environment of constant rejection and devaluation. For this person, the idea of self-acceptance may seem distant, almost unattainable. However, every small step toward healing is an advance. Therapy, support groups, and the pursuit of self-knowledge are powerful tools on this path. Transformation begins the moment one chooses to seek help, learn more about themselves, and slowly rebuild self-esteem. This path of personal transformation is also physical. By imposing seemingly impossible challenges, like starting to run or engaging in intense physical activity, the body and mind sync up to break limits. Physical exercise in this context becomes a form of therapy, a way to release accumulated pain and transform suffering into overcoming. Many who have gone through trauma have found physical activity to be a way to channel emotional energy, strengthening both body and spirit. Thus, transformation is an integrated process between mind and body, each reinforcing the other. Looking back at the struggles that were overcome, the sense of accomplishment is undeniable. What once seemed impossible now serves as an example for future battles. Transformation is continuous and never complete, always evolving. For those who have already overcome much, new challenges arise, and it is exactly this ability to turn pain into strength that allows them to keep moving forward. And so, with each new achievement, one realizes that no matter how difficult the past was, it does not define the future. What defines it is the ability to grow, learn, and keep pushing one's own limits. This is where the need to cultivate a strong mind and body comes in. Developing mental and physical strength is a process that requires continuous effort, and often pain is part of this path. The mind has an incredible ability to create excuses to avoid discomfort, but it is precisely by facing this resistance that true growth is found. Imagine running a marathon. The first few kilometers may be easy, but over time, fatigue begins to set in, and the brain insists that you stop. Overcoming this internal voice is where true fortitude lies. Those who can move forward, even with pain or fatigue, are the ones who reap the greatest rewards. This mental toughness doesn't apply only to physical challenges like running or heavy workouts, but also to moments in life when circumstances are overwhelming. Taking on an extremely difficult work project, facing a financial crisis, or even dealing with grief requires the same ability to push one's limits. The pain felt during these challenges, both physical and emotional, is not a sign that one should stop, but an indication that they are on the right path. Strength is built by enduring and overcoming these moments of tension. Now, to develop this mental and physical resilience, practice is needed. You don't build a strong mind by watching others struggle. You need to step out of your comfort zone. A good practical example would be the habit of waking up early and doing something challenging right away, whether it's running or deep meditation. By starting the day with something that tests your limits, you already begin winning. Imagine someone who decides to run every day, regardless of the weather or mood. This repeated act strengthens both body and mind, and over time, resistance to discomfort becomes almost natural. Interestingly, mental strength often surpasses physical strength. There are moments when the body cries out for rest, but the mind, if properly trained, can stay in control and keep going. This is often seen in high-performance athletes but can be applied to anyone. For example, when someone decides to study for an important exam or learn a new skill, mental fatigue may try to take over, but a disciplined mind knows that true learning comes from pushing past this threshold. This is how unshakable resilience is built. This combination of physical and mental strength prepares a person for any battle, whether in personal or professional life. Every small effort we make in our daily lives, from facing a fear to completing an exhausting task, contributes to this development. Strength is not something that is achieved and done. It's a continuous process of improvement. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes to face the next challenges that inevitably arise. Thus, this combination of resilient mind and body creates a solid foundation for facing adversity, laying the groundwork for developing a will of steel that leads to the next level. Willpower is like a muscle that strengthens the more it is exercised. In many moments, what prevents progress is not a lack of skill or intelligence, but rather a lack of determination to continue when things get tough. When someone commits to developing this kind of strength, they are investing in a powerful tool that can transform their life. Imagine someone who decides to improve their health. It's not just about starting to exercise, but maintaining the routine even on days when the body or mind suggests otherwise. This continuous effort creates a focus that overcomes distractions. The truth is, willpower is not something a person is simply born with. It grows as one faces and wins small daily battles, whether it's resisting the temptation to delay an important task or sticking to a strict diet. Each small triumph reinforces the ability to say yes to progress and no to distractions. For example, think of someone who wants to save money. Instead of giving in to the impulse to spend on something unnecessary, this person can focus on saving by visualizing long-term benefits. Each time they resist a temptation, their willpower grows a little more. However, maintaining focus amidst daily distractions is an art in itself. We live in an era of constant stimuli, with notifications, social media, and countless other interruptions competing for our attention. The solution? Create an environment that fosters concentration. For example, turning off the phone while working, creating a clear list of daily tasks, and focusing on one activity at a time. This not only helps strengthen focus, but also increases productivity. Each intentional action in this sense reinforces the ability to concentrate on what truly matters. Another important point is that willpower and focus go hand in hand with self-discipline. The more disciplined a person is, the easier it becomes to direct attention to what is truly necessary. By avoiding distractions and reinforcing productive habits, it's possible to train the brain to focus on what brings results. A simple example would be a daily reading routine. Someone who starts dedicating 20 minutes a day to reading self-development books like Think and Grow Rich will not only expand their knowledge but also improve their focus, as the constant practice of reading helps develop this ability. Lastly, it's worth remembering that willpower is a continuous construction that strengthens as a person challenges themselves each day. No matter the goal, improving health, learning a new skill, or achieving financial goals, the secret lies in maintaining focus and determination, even when the journey becomes difficult. With each new challenge overcome, the willpower muscle grows, preparing the person for the next steps. And so, life becomes a sequence of gradual victories, each one fueling the next. Now that you have the tools to strengthen your mind, the real question is, what are you going to do from here? Will you apply this knowledge and start turning challenges into growth? The choice is yours. Small daily actions can lead to big changes. If this content helped you, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you don't miss more tips that can transform your life. Are you ready to start?